Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to do a little bit different of a video today. I'm going to do a hot sauce tutorial. Somebody made a comment on one of my videos recently asking if I was going to show how I make hot sauce. So I decided that was a pretty good idea, and so here we are. Steps aren't going to be universal. I make each batch a little bit differently, even within the same type of sauce if I make the same one again, but it really depends on the ingredients used that determines each step along the way. This one is going to have a lot of fresh ingredients in it, so I'm going to do a little bit of editing, de-seeding peppers, chopping onion, etc. So there's going to be some splicing involved, but that's the way it goes. So shall we go take a look at the counter, see what kind of ingredients I got? Alright, so there's all the stuff. We have soy sauce, a whole plethora of spices here, and sea salt, red onion, which I will be sauteing, roasted garlic, not using the whole bulb, but I roasted the whole bulb yesterday and we'll be taking a few cloves out, white wine vinegar, fresh pineapple, dark brown cane sugar, 7-pot Jonas, and habaneros. I'm gonna be splicing in a moment here to de-seed the peppers and come back with everything ready to go. And there's also pineapple editing involved and onion chopping. So I will be back in just a quick flash here with the peppers de-seeded, the pineapple chopped, and the onion as well. So see you in a moment.
Yep.
Okay, so coming back here, we got all the peppers de-seeded. They're still in the Jonas. There's some immature black seeds. I just left those for the most part. And over here we got half a cup of chopped fresh pineapple, about a tablespoon and a half maybe of the finely minced yellow onion or purple onion. Half a tablespoon of it was just 5 cilantro leaves, about a diameter of a quarter, and about a tablespoon of roasted garlic cloves. It was 3 medium-sized cloves, and they're just chopped up a little bit. So we're going to take the onions over to the stove here and just saute them just in regular tiny little bit of vegetable oil, just for a minute or so, maybe less. Okay, so oil in the pan.
Give it a good texture if you do.
Onions. Get them. Let those sizzle for a few seconds here. Soften up just a tiny bit. I don't want too much of the flavor to dissipate. Just enough to sear them a tiny bit here. Ooh, that smells good. Okay. Okay, so turn off the heat. They're good to go. Now, I'm going to stop it again here, and we'll be back in a minute to get started in the saucepan with all the rest of the ingredients. Alright, and we're back. Got the peppers here all chopped up a little bit. Anybody not in the know, the browner ones are the placental encrusted Jonas 7 pots, and these are the different kinds of habaneros here. There's about 10 of the habaneros, and there's a baker's dozen, 13 7-pot Jonas, all 1.5 to 2 inch pods, so de-seeded and everything. I have here about a half a cup of white wine vinegar, 1/8 cup of brown sugar, 1/8 cup of soy sauce, along with my spices and sea salt over here, pineapple, garlic, and cilantro here, and we're going to get started. So I'm going to bring the vinegar over here, pour that in first. And we're going to dump the peppers in. Oh, I don't know if I should keep using this wooden spoon for this. It'll never be the same again.
You already got the peppers on it.
Yeah. So, I'm going to take this around, stir it up,
Jesus.
absorb the... And then now I'm going to turn the heat down just a pinch for now. Decrease the fumes because these peppers are really hot. And just stir it up a little bit, get all the peppers coated in the vinegar so that the flavors meld, diffuse some of the capsaicin, because there's a lot of it, into the vinegar. Okay, now that that's established, spoon down here for a moment. And we're going to add the soy sauce next. Oh, if I don't dump it all out first. So add a little bit more liquid to get that nice salty infusion going amidst everything else. Stir that up again. Now as an addendum, because I didn't mince the peppers up into dust, once this is broken down a little bit, once the peppers heat up and they get more tender, and these are already really thin-skinned, very succulent textured peppers anyway, so they'll break down pretty quickly. And also toss the whole mixture in the blender after it's sat for a little bit, and then toss it back on the stove to simmer for another 10-15 minutes or so. Ooh.
Yeah.
And a shout out to my camera woman, my wife Nikki, for putting up with this, because she doesn't like peppers, and the fumes are going to start getting bad. Okay, so more liquidy stuff next. We got the pineapple, and then we're going to toss in the brown sugar. Kind of want to sprinkle it evenly. There we go. Brown sugar.
Oh.
Turn the heat down just another little bit again to about halfway between medium and low. Now stir all these up. I maybe could have broken the pineapple down a little bit more, but it's not a big deal.
You're going to throw it in the blender.
It's going to be blended up, so just from a flavor infusion standpoint.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay, so there we go. Get those going. Just a note, this is going to be a jerk style sauce. So anybody who's in the know as far as jerk Jamaican type sauces go, you know the spices that are in it. I'm not going to reveal exactly what they are, but in any case, we're going to start the process here of the spice infusion in just a moment. But first, I'm going to add the roasted garlic cloves and the cilantro. I don't want too much of a cilantro flavor added to it, just an accent in the background. So I'm going to add that right now because the volatile flavor compounds dissipate pretty quickly once it's heated up for a while. So I'm going to garlic it. And cilantro it. And then we're going to add the sauteed onions after that. Onion.
It's pretty.
Nice colorful dish. Okay, we'll mix these up again. Get all the flavors going. Already smelling really nice. Once the spices and herbs are added, gonna get a nicer little flavor going on with that.
A nice flavor possibly, but probably not a little flavor.
No, a lot of flavor. That's how I roll, sucker. Get that stirred up a little bit. plop the spoon on down. Okay, we'll start adding some herbs
Super
and
secret
spices. Add whatever spices you want to individualize your own recipe. This is just a general template.
That's the dump.
I know.
Okay.
This is one that I want a little bit more of.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you knew that or not.
Just tiny bits of all these more pungent ones that go in a jerk style sauce. You don't want it to overpower everything else you're putting in. Oh, that's right.
One of them's not open.
I just opened my opening my allspice here. Just bought it yesterday.
I think we used to have some, but I think I used it all in pies.
A little bit more of that. And sea salt it. Got one of these cool grinders.
That thing's awesome.
Notice how I don't really measure for my herbs and spices. I just play it by ear. It's all instinct.
Play with it, yep.
And if I'll do a sample taste, and if it seems like something else could be added to bring out another flavor or mute something else without compromising the essential taste of it, then I will do so. It's all about improvisation. You gotta roll with it, whatever you go with, and you tweak it a little bit as you go along. Just kind of my general parameters for how I do it. Everybody's got their own nuances with their own techniques. I'm still a work in progress, so I'm always altering a little bit as I go. If I don't like something as much, then I'll change it for the next time. Okay, so we're gonna do a little splice here, let this simmer for a few minutes, and then come back with the blender. Okay, we let it simmer. I put it back up to full medium heat for about 3 minutes or so to let everything infuse. And so now we're going to head over to the blender and toss everything in. Be very careful with this part because the shit's boiling. Oh, I want to make sure that my blender, yeah, I thought
It's
so.
on all the way.
So if you don't tighten this part up enough, the shit goes spilling out of the bottom, and I don't like that.
Not so fun.
There we go. Okay. Dump it in, but be careful too, because it splatters a lot when
Yeah,
you're
I'm stepping back.
dumping down. Just very carefully, graciously put it in here.
Graciously.
Make sure you get all the peppers. That's the most important part of a hot sauce. Okay. Now, I usually I start it on the low setting and just kind of grate it to go off for a few seconds, and then I'll step it up and then flip it to the high setting and then start back down here, work my way up to the top, turn it off, and then maybe pulse it a couple of times and throw it back in the pan, depending on what texture I'm going for. Sometimes I'll use less chunky ingredients, depending on what kind of sauce I'm making, and give it more of a Tabasco sauce type texture so that it's thinner. I don't like them quite that watery, but usually I have a couple thinner ones like that. But so we'll start it off. spatula and proceed to redistribute. Put it all back in here. Don't want to leave any appreciable amount behind. There's going to be residue in the bottom, that's to be expected. But I always try to make sure I reclaim most of what's in here. Because once
it's so hard to get stuff out of that thing too.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the butt. Mm-hmm. Kind of looks like marinara sauce.
It do. Damn sure doesn't taste like it though. Okay, so we shall put this back up on the stove for just a little bit here. And we'll take another edit break here and let that simmer on low medium to low heat so it doesn't cook away too much of the volatile flavors of the cilantro any more than it already has, just to keep a little bit of that accent going on in the background. And we'll come back at you in about 15 minutes or so. Okay, final stage here. I'm just giving it a little bit more of a stir. I added about another half a cup of vinegar to thin it out, lower the pH a little bit more, just so that it'll keep. And I let it come to a full boil for a few minutes, and then decrease the heat gradually, stirred it up the whole time. And now I'm going to shut the heat off, and you let it sit for half hour, cool it down enough so that you can just pour it in whatever container you want and pop it in the fridge. So that's it. That's how I make my hot sauces. This particular recipe, a little bit something different, so hopefully you guys can have some good luck trying out your own version of this recipe, maybe with different ingredients, peppers, or different spices, or different fruits, or whatever. You know, it's a highly versatile recipe. So thank you for watching, everybody. Take it easy. I'll see you around with some pepper reviews and updates and whatever else. See ya.